Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In Nier Reincarnation, let's do what will probably be my least viewed video ever. Top weapons for Zero in PvP Arena. I made some charts, and they're just for me, but might as well share them for anyone interested. I made them because I wanted an easier way to look at what was available, compare them to each other, and consider if I want to pick up anything that I'm missing. And I want to do an overall review of the Zero costume, but I'll wait until we get details about her karma buffs next week. First of all, I think there are two ways to go with Zero in Arena. One is to go all out with her AoE character skill and one-punch everyone, and the other is to use her like any other weapon skill attacker, where the character skill is a bonus. The thing is, Summer Yuri giving everyone damage mitigation barriers makes it tough to do full damage to everyone. We will want to ideally hit everyone 5 times first to remove all barriers, and with Provoke that's going to be very difficult. Of course, if you can get your damage up high enough, 50% of like a million damage is still 500k, and that'll one-punch most people. But if you've watched my recent videos, you know that my belief in the AoE one-punch has dropped. So as we go through the charts, keep in mind that I will be leaning my assessment towards standard weapon skill attacker, but not ignoring the character skill. I said this when she and 063Y got the buff to their character skills, but it's totally reasonable to consider their character skills a third weapon skill, which is pretty powerful and unique. Okay, let's look at fire here. What I will do is show primary weapons, that top row, and I'm just going to go for short swords because we want to see the attack animations. That's half the reason to use Zero, right? But secondary, I will do a variety of weapons. And then on the upper right, I'll do maybe my ideal build based on what is available now. Okay, but primary weapons, I think probably the best one is going to be Summer Gale's sword, which I do not have. But attack, it is the highest of these fire short swords, and then fairly fast cooldown as well of 16 and 18. And then 2 nice kind of damage up passives. I also really like the Shiny Cecity, I think that's how you say that. Also pretty fast, also has 2 damage up passives, but a lower attack value. So yeah, whenever we get a select a character, again, I might go for Summer Gale if there's no one else I want to get. Zero's sword is also interesting, but it has a very slow cooldown. Although, if you're using say like Provoke Tank, Summer Yuri, and then Zero, then slowness might not matter, and so this sword could also maybe be okay in the main hand. And then I threw in this launch fire short sword just for fun. This is interesting because it has an AoE weapon skill, and it's for a 100% multiplier, which is not terrible. Some of the other ones have like 60%, so this is better for that. But yeah, I would not recommend this unless you want to experiment with that double AoE. Oh, and also I should say that Zero at Awakening 3, she gets more stats with fire weapons. That's not make or break for her. I think she's very versatile as far as elements, but fire is attractive for that reason. Alright, next we have weapons good for secondary, and then I have the 2 Dark Memory short swords here. These would be okay as a main hand, they have very powerful weapon skills, but very slow cooldowns. And then as we see with later elements, I think the decision to use a Dark Memory sword as a main hand will get less and less attractive. But yeah, one characteristic we see with fire is a lot of critical rate up. And so if we look at my kind of ideal build in the upper right, we'll have 3 weapons with critical rate up. I think it'll be like plus 40 or plus 45 at the end, so it's pretty high. That would make it easier to use the Blighted Flowers memoir set in order to speed up your cooldown. So yeah, fire is also attractive for that reason too. And then the rest of the secondary weapons, not short swords, but they have that combo of Fire Boon and then Fire Haste, which I think is one of the best combos for Arena. Okay, next we have water, and I think this is my least recommended element to use Zero in Arena. But yeah, as we can see, There's only one weapon that's very fast, that's the Silver Snow Claw, and then very low attack value. And then agility up, we don't really need agility for 0 in Arena, I think. The other two options I think good for primary are from limited characters. The new 2B and then Anniversary Marie. But this Anniversary Marie short sword, it's excellent as a sub-weapon to give you more damage. But as a main hand weapon, I don't know. Especially compared to 2B's weapon there. But yeah, because I do not really recommend water for this, I don't even have an ideal build in the upper right. But in secondary, I have some more weapons with the Boon Haste combo. And again with the Anniversary Marie sword. That's excellent for a sub-weapon. I wish I had more than one. Okay, next we have wind. This is one of my stronger elements. And then I waited to do this video until after the new Circus Gale was released so I could include her weapon here. But yeah, any of these weapons would be great as a primary. They all have pretty similar attack values except for the new Circus Gale, which has a very, very high attack value. The Final Fantasy Lars has the fastest cooldown, which may or may not be good, actually. I was trying this out, and then she was actually so fast that she was getting out her character skill before I could buff her with weapon skills from other characters, so I gave her different memoirs, that kind of thing, so yeah, it is going to take some testing to see what's going to be good there. And then the sword from Summer Marie, which unfortunately I did not get. I pulled Summer Yuri too quickly, I guess. It has an excellent Boon Haste double bonus there. And then being a short sword, that'll be great for more stats as a secondary weapon, so that's why I put that in the ideal build there. And then kind of a similar combination of buffs, that kind of two-pronged sword there. That's why I also included that in the ideal build. And then some other weapons, more Boon Haste combos, and then the Wind Dark Memory short sword. Again, gives agility, which we don't really need on 0, I think. Okay, next we have Light. This is also pretty strong in my account. I think the best primary weapon is going to be a Handout, which is from Recollections of Dusk Gale. But very high attack, very quick cooldowns, and then a light boon. You compare that to the Abyssal Lars sword, it charges up more quickly, but the Abyssal Lars sword has two damage up passives. And then tomorrow we're going to get the free pulls in the Abyssal banners for my global account. I'm hoping I get some guys because they have really nice weapons, including this one. Alright, and then we have the sword from Crow from Persona. Oh, I totally forgot to explain this, but green highlights are really good, and then yellow highlights are maybe not so good. So that's why we see slow cooldowns or low attack values highlighted in yellow. And then Bold Vigor, I did not give a green, even though it's a great damage source. With 0 and her character skill, that's going to come out quite a bit later, so Bold Vigor might be hard to trigger for her. Okay, and then finally we have 2P Sword, which is actually pretty attractive for a sub-weapon. I didn't have room for a sub-weapon down there, so I put it up here. If you had nothing else, you could certainly use it as a primary weapon, but for secondary, I think it's very good. And then, let's see, ideal build, we got the Recollections of Dusk Gale sword. For sub-weapon, we have the Dark Memory Hina, and then Abyssal Lars. But again, you could easily sub in the 2P sword. Okay, then for secondary weapons, got that Dark Memory Hina short sword, and then a bunch of random weapons, and then no 3-star option here, although they do exist, I think. Okay, and then finally we have Dark. This might be one of the more attractive, maybe free-to-play options. But here too, I think the best primary option is going to be the Recollections of Dusk Lars, and then one of the best secondary is going to be Dark Memory Yuzuki. The second primary sword we see there is from Fractured Marie, very, very similar to the Recollections of Dusk Lars, so if you didn't want to go through Recollections of Dusk, you could just use this instead. And then I think for the one of the best secondary weapons would be Anniversary Yuzuki's sword. Very high attack value, and then 2 damage up passives. And for secondary, we have a couple of guns, which have the Boon Haste combo, And then we have Christmas Priet Fist for 2 types of damage up passives. Same thing on Abyssal Livania. That would be another one I wouldn't mind pulling for free tomorrow. Okay, that was a look at weapons that I prefer to use on Zero in Arena. And then after we get the Karma buffs breakdown for Zero, I want to do a more full review of her. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.